Hey guys, and welcome back to Modest Mom. My name is Melissa, and this is my tiny home, and today we are actually going to be making some soap. I really need some more soap. I do sell a little bit on the side, and we use it all the time here in our home, not just for washing our bodies and things of that sort, and in the bathroom to wash our hands, but we also use it in our laundry detergent and things like that. So come along with me today. Alright, we have our stuff all set out here for soap making, and we have our frozen milk, raw milk, and we have to wait until it kind of thaws out a little bit because it needs to be a slushy consistency in order to do the soap. Now I have a couple soap molds laid out in order to pour the soap in. You can use just about anything for a soap mold. I just have a box here that I saved, an Amazon box, and then just a baking dish. And then you want to add some parchment paper lining in there so the soap doesn't try to leak through or melt through or anything like that, because the oils will. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound, oh, that saved a wretch. And now we will do the baking dish soap mold as well. I also used to use some silicone ones that I had found on Amazon, so there is a ton on there as well. And there we have it. They're all ready to go. We have our milk at its slushy consistency, like I said before. And now I am using the scale and getting our lye measured out. You can find this in the plumbing, cleaning supplies at like Lowe's. I get this lye at one of my local Amish stores. I like it, and it kind of comes in a bigger amount, and so it's a little cheaper for me. I will also be sure to try to put the recipe for my soap and the amounts in the description box below for you guys. Once we have that all done, we're going to measure out our milk that is the slushy consistency. I'm kind of helping it by breaking it up a little bit. And this is just an up close look for you guys. Added a little bit. Kind of looks like slushy homemade ice cream, sort of. So now we are getting that all measured out in our Pyrex measuring glass. And making homemade soap for your family is such a great way to save money, you guys. It's one of the first homesteady things, really, that I learned to do to try to help out my family. At the time when I first started making this, we didn't have just a whole lot of money, and so every little bit helped. Truthfully, I really enjoy soap making, and I enjoy how it does help our family as well. It's really not as intimidating as it may look. I know the first time you're looking it up, it does seem intimidating, but it's really not. It just takes 3 simple things and you have homemade soap. A lot of people are intimidated by the lye that I was just measuring out, and usually it would be a good idea to wear gloves while messing with the lye, because it can burn your skin. If you do feel it start to burn, immediately wash your hands with soap. I've been doing this for years, and truthfully I didn't have any gloves, so I'm just trying to be really careful. And right now we are measuring out the lard. I have also used lard from people that have had hogs butchered, and they are like, hey, do you want our pig fat for your soap? And I'm like, yes. So I get really excited when I get that and am able to render it and use it. Now that we have about 2 pounds of lard in our large pot, that is another batch of soap on the left that I am waiting to stir up, but we're going to melt this lard on about medium-high heat and just keep stirring it and watching it until it gets all melted in the pot. Alright, and now we are giving it a good stir, just making sure all the oils get melted and ready to go. We are heating this up to a pretty high temperature, and you want to do that with the oils and your lye liquid mixture as well, because you're going to heat both of those up, and then you're going to go do whatever you need to and let them cool back down before we mix them up.
Because he first loved me.
Now moving on to the lye liquid mixture. Instead of milk, you can also do water, but again, I like the raw milk soap, and so that's what I'm doing this time. Always remember to try to pour your lye into your liquid. Try not to do that the other way around. I've just read all over when I first started making soap to never do that. So always put your lye into your liquid mixture. Now we are stirring it up, and you will start to notice it will get warmer and steam will start to come out of your Pyrex measuring dish or whatever you're stirring it in. I try to keep my soap supply separate from everything else, and you'll also notice the color started to change. With raw milk, when you make milk soap, it starts to turn orange. And see, I'm feeling for the heat, it is starting to heat up, so that's why I'm putting it on the stove. Lye naturally, when it mixes with a liquid, it will start to heat up. So now we have our lye milk mixture heated up and our lard mixture heated up. So now I'm just getting out all my supplies, wiping down the counter. I did get out my electric mixer. A lot of people use an immersion blender, but I feel like it's okay to use an electric mixer. It's what I've always used, and as long as you wait till it cools down to about 70 to 80 degrees, somewhere in between there, I feel like is a good temperature. You can also start to tell from the color as well of your lard and your lye mixture. It will just start to get more cloudy, and you can kind of tell that it is ready to be mixed together and stir. We had a really fun day in between soap making, just shooting BB guns and riding our bikes. My little girl had a pretty big fear of riding her bike, and yes, it is still with training wheels, but we had a big accomplishment today. With a little healthy pushing, she did it all by herself, and I'm just so proud of her. Now I can't keep her off of it. You gonna go without me? You gonna go without me? Pay attention where you're steering.
I don't go fast.
Ah! Steer, no, don't. You got a crazy driver. You're doing it. You're doing it. You're doing it. All right, practice braking. See, you did it. You did it. You like it? All right. All right, go slow.
I want to go fast.
All right, let him go. Look. 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 Woo. Woo, you did it. Go, Luella. Woo. to her, Leah. Just watch where you're steering. Watch where you're steering. You're doing it.
Mama gets the button.
You're doing it. You're gonna go back up. Here, Leah, push with your feet. Push with your feet. Push. Can you do it yourself? Push. 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 Push with your feet. Push. 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 Woo! You doing so good, babe? Alright, I believe our lard mixture and our lye milk mixture is ready to be mixed. See how the color has changed in the lard? Quite a bit actually, because it's not very clear anymore. It's more cloudy now. You want to go ahead and pour your lye milk mixture into the lard mixture and go ahead and start mixing. I think I forgot to film me pouring the lye liquid mixture in there, but go ahead and do that. Put the lye mixture into the lard, not the other way around, and go ahead and start mixing. In soap making, you'll know when you're done stirring when your soap comes to trace, and what that means is when you move your whisks around in the soap, you'll kind of start to notice that there'll be lines following your whisks, and that's a good thing. That means it's come to trace. Or if you sort of poke your whisks in and try to pull them out, they'll kind of puff up, sort of like meringue or Cool Whip or something like that. That's how you know it's ready. And the more stuff that you put in, like oats or anything like that, then you will want a thicker trace. So remember those soap molds we prepped earlier? Now we're going to get those back out, and you are ready to pour your soap into your soap mold. The quicker you do this, probably the best, because the longer your soap sits, the more thick it will become because it will start to set. And just pour them in your soap molds until they are full. Make sure the sides of your parchment paper are sort of pulled back so you don't get a lot of indentions in your soap. You're going to have some around the edges, but I'm just trying to keep that from happening really bad. I had to have my little helper Luella help video this part of the video, so if it's a little shaky, I'm sorry, or off center or something like that, but I thought she did a really good job. I had to come outside to do the voiceovers for this video because my little boy wouldn't stop crying, and he just needed to go to sleep and go down for a nap, so I had to come out here and try to do that. So that may be why you hear birds or anything like that. Once you've got it poured, go ahead and rinse your pans out immediately because you've had that lye in there, and you can use your cake spatula to sort of smooth out the top. I like to do that, and that is my other soap that I made today I'm trying out. Sometimes when I get soap made, they look like a big dessert or something like that. They look so good you could eat it, but don't do that. Right now we're going to let these sit here on the counter for a couple days to let them harden up, and the tops, when you touch them, will start to get a little harder and firmer, and you'll know that it's time to cut your soap into bars. I forgot to mention as well to cover your soaps while you wait the couple days with some tea towels. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it shine. Don't let Satan blow it out. I'm gonna let it you'll know. I'm gonna let it shine. Oh, and now it has been a couple days, and now our soap has hardened on the top. It's also changed in color, as you can tell on the top. It's more white now instead of orange. So I believe it is time to start cutting them. Now we are going to carefully take the soap out and put it on our cutting board just by holding the parchment paper, and then slowly tear away the sides of the parchment paper, trying to be careful not to tear any of the soap on the edges away as well. And I ended up just using a sharp knife for this, but we are going to start cutting our soap. You can just sort of decide how you want to cut them. I'm just cutting mine into squares. Turning the soap around long ways so we can cut it that way as well. These soap bars are so nice and pretty when they're cut and they're done. And now we're going to let them sit on the counter just on a tea towel for about 4 to 6 weeks. That way they have time to cure and the lye has time to set in there and actually use it to clean your body and not hurt you right now. I absolutely love milk soap. Not only are you able to use your raw milk for yet another thing in your home, but it creates such a creamy lather, I feel like, when you're able to use raw milk soap. There are so many benefits and vitamins that are in raw milk that help in a soap as well. And here they are, the finished product. On the left is the milk soap, and on the right is the other soap that I made today too. You don't need a lot to start making soap. You just need a fat or an oil, you need the lye, and you need water, and that's it. So simple and so easy. You can start today. This was some sourdough bread that I was making a few days after that. I've been trying to make sourdough every week for my family just to eat on. We haven't bought bread in a long time. We had such a fun little weekend here. I'm just so thankful to the Lord that we were able to have it. It doesn't get to happen very often, but we ended the day with watching sunsets, watching the kids play and just get dirty and play in the dirt, and we had a little fire at the end of the day as well. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it so much.